Hello everybody! As always, this is the #1 man of the world doing everything for you to make you happy. It's Ran. And I'm bringing you another match of Domination, this time with Chacc. Now, I actually wanted to feature this one because it was one of the many matches of Chacc that I didn't get to feature on the live stream that was done on December 3rd, 29th, 30th. I can't remember exactly, but it was a couple of days before the new year. So I wanted to bring you guys this match for the fact that you could get to see it. Mostly it being because it is a perfect Pelican match. A very, very painful, very proud, very rage-inducing perfect Pelican match. Which is actually the topic of what I wanted to talk about while this is in the background. How to deal with matches you're losing. In terms of matches that you are losing, I mean matches where no matter what the cause of the situation is, no matter what it is that's making you lose, how do you deal with those emotions and how do you rationalize what's happening? Best example that I can tell you guys is relax. That's literally the best thing I can tell anybody for anything. Just relax. There is literally nothing you can do to stop most things from how they are. Shit just happens. That's the thing you gotta remember. Shit happens. There's nothing you can really do about it. You just have to deal. If you deal, it's really no problem. So, when it comes down to it, doesn't matter who's at fault, doesn't matter what the problem is. Bitching and crying about it's not gonna help much. Not unless what you're saying is something that they need to hear because it's last-second information. It's just how people are on the internet. They don't care about who's responsible for anything past their own points. But, moving on from that, back to the match. Playing Chacc in Domination is something that I had gotten used to doing for a while, but I played him a way that I don't believe I should have played him. And the way that I played him was more of a ability-based god, which I thought I could do with him because, you know, this passive, free of skills. But it was only after I played this match that I realized that Chacc is not that kind of god. He's much more based in the point of being for one thing and just one thing only. And that thing is, well, pickups. And it was when I realized this is that I started to figure out that Chacc needs to have more attack power in terms of what he's doing, so that when it comes time for him to use those free skills, he has all of the damage to do it. Originally in this game, I started with Atabi and Jotuns, because ability plus movement speed. But I actually have recently and always now have started playing all of my physical gods with a Heartseeker. Because Heartseeker. I also started playing Chacc with a Heartseeker because of the fact of how he can lane hop. That being part of the reason why I enjoyed doing that, for the means why I did it, or why I enjoyed doing him the way I did him. More often than not, when it comes to Chacc, he's attack speed, not ability power. And it's remembering that fact that made it possible for me to win this type of match. Knowing when to use my abilities, using them the way that they needed to be used, and attacking when I needed to attack, and making the enemy come to me, not me come to them. As a matter of fact, the more experience I begin to have with Chacc, the more I get to see a notion of the fact Chacc doesn't kill himself overcommitting to his attacks more often than not. If he was to use a full combo of all of his abilities, probably combined with the power of maybe a girdle, maybe an enfeebling curse, and maybe a stun fist, he could secure any and all of his kills. Honestly, the places where he begins to fall off is when he happens to be outnumbered and he's not getting the support or help of his team. That's where he falls off. And it's that as a fact that makes it hard for Chacc to be able to do some of the things that he's got to do. Right here, I really should be dead. I should be all of the dead. Yet, because I survived with that little nudgel of health from the choice of item that I bought, or from the choice of my positioning and my choice to get out of that fight as soon as possible, I was able to pick up that kill and survive. It's really scary, actually, how powerful Chacc can be when he's played to effectiveness when he's with the team. But you see, the team is the way that he gets killed more often than not. And the reason why is because negating of his basic attacks. In order for Chacc to make use of his passive, he needs to use his basic attacks. He can't use his basic attacks if his team's constantly in his way, making him lose the ability of doing that. Whether it's the hunter poking the wave, or it's somebody using an ability way too early before he's able to finish it, or because somebody went out of his way to body block him. It's never Chacc that's responsible for Chacc not picking up his kills if he can truly use the 1-2 combo to catch up to the enemy, or if he can slow them down with the 3-1-2 combo. It's the allies getting in his way and making it impossible for him to do what he's got to do that makes this as a Chacc player hard. It's also when they overextend themselves and don't position themselves in good situations. Like this situation here that's developing. Left lane's getting pushed. All 4 of them are still on middle, doing nothing. None of them step off of middle to do anything to help that lane. Yet, it's me that's currently taking an opposite lane that's not defended and winning at it. And only once they realize that I'm doing this do they actually seem to move at all. Still on right lane on my own, still holding and pushing it back from the incoming wave, as well as from Poseidon. I get Poseidon into a good little position, and I pick him up. All of a sudden, incoming gank. Noodle work, and I'm able to stem them off on my own. Even juking the incoming pull from Arachne, because Arachne missed. And only when they see that I'm doing all of this, do the allies choose to come to assist. The sad fact being that Cupid popped his sprint just so he could try to keep up because he wanted that kill. All of that was done on my own, with Chacc. The allies only came in at the last second when they saw that I could use some assistance. And even when they knew that it was time for them to go, they still had not gone. Which is why I was able to do what I did. Making the choices myself and making full advantage of the enemy's placement and of the allies' choice of attack to help myself get into a better position. The fact that I was capable of doing all that is the reason why they're currently fighting out that spat on the right lane and in the right side lane. Because I was capable of doing all that on my own. And now, on my own, with the power of the mystical mark, I am now taking left lane by myself solo. Nobody defending it, nobody guarding it. Yet all of the enemies coming to my position to try to stop me from doing that exactly. So much so that I try to bait one of them into following me into this easy trap, but nobody ever comes. But despite all that, my point is still the same. Chacc, on his own, can be able to do plenty of things to help himself pick up and succeed at pulling the kills. It's when he starts trying to synergize with his team that it becomes a problem.
An ally has been slain. I stand. An enemy has been slain. Be right back.
And excitingly, before the match ever ends, here comes a cross-up that I actually consider to be something hilariously funny. Knowing that Spider was over there looking for a pull, I come over here to gank her, only to get aggressed by it on Anubis. I get Anubis to try to tank and search on me, and I use the range of my ultimate and of my skills to get them all grouped up into a nice little tight bunch so I can attack. I get them stuck up in such a good little gank that my team comes in to come and fight them, and eventually, had they not done that, the game would have ended with all of them dying and then the pyramid ending. Just a nice little note on the side tip of what was a very good Thunderstorm lane block. But as always, that is mostly what a perfect Pelican should look like. And that's mostly the kind of situations that I start thinking about now when I pull off games like a Perfect Pelican. I don't think about, oh great, I did all the victory, I did all the win. I start thinking about that poor ally and enemy team and those poor enemies. Because knowing that I have skill and being able to pull off games like this and not being able to help those guys learn how better to prepare themselves so that this type of thing doesn't happen to them anymore, it feels like humble bragging, because when I tell them, they're mad, and I don't know how to explain it to them so that they're not, yet at the same time, if I try to help them, they're just going to take it as an insult. That's just something to consider. But that is all I wanted to talk about today. And as always, I have to go. So, for BonuStage Entertainment, my name is Ren, and I will see you guys next time. Good night, everybody!